Good morning, dear students. So far we have discussed about metals, non-metals, and reactivity series. And today we're going to discuss about chemical reactivity or chemical properties of metals. So, dear students, we know that in reactivity series, potassium, sodium, calcium is more reactive, and those who are below in the series, that is gold, platinum, they are least reactive. So those who are in the we can say higher position in the series, they are much more reactive. They react with oxygen, they react with water, and with more vigorously. Let us see metals like sodium, potassium, calcium. They react in a similar way. For example, sodium when react with oxygen, it forms sodium oxide. And this sodium oxide, it is a metal oxide. And dear students, metal oxides are basic in nature. मेटल ऑक्साइड्स कैसे होते हैं? बेसिक होते हैं. क्यों बेसिक होते हैं? बिकॉज व्हेन दे डिसॉल्व इन वाटर दे गिव हाइड्रोक्साइड आयन. OH ion is known as hydroxide ion. This is NaOH, but in water it will give you Na plus OH minus ions. And this is a base. ये कैसा है? ये बेसिक नेचर है. Hydroxides are basic compound. So this metal oxide. And we know what are metals. We have studied the different metals: sodium, potassium, gold, and these are metals. So this metal, when react with oxygen, they form metal oxide. So we have taken sodium. Sodium reacts with oxygen to form sodium oxide, which on dissolving in water forms sodium hydroxide. So metal oxides are basic in nature. So if you use litmus paper, this sodium hydroxide solution turns red litmus paper blue. This is the characteristic of base. बेस क्या करते हैं? रेड लिटमस को ब्लू करते हैं. एंड सो सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड टर्न्स रेड लिटमस पेपर इनटू ब्लू. सो इट इज अ बेसिक कंपाउंड. एंड इफ वी टेक मेटल ऑक्साइड प्लस HCl, we get salt and water. So if you have studied in 7th standard neutralization reaction, what is neutralization reaction? जब एसिड और बेस रिएक्ट करते हैं, they give salt and water. So here metal oxide is actually basic compound. So this basic compound when react with acid, hydrochloric acid, it forms salt and water. So it is a neutralization reaction. So we can say metal oxides are basic compound. Same for potassium. You can see same way. Sodium potassium react in the same way. When it reacts with oxygen, it forms potassium oxide, and this potassium oxide reacts in water or dissolve in water. It forms potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide हो या sodium hydroxide हो, they are basic compound. And this potassium oxide, again we are taking same. If we react with HCl, it will give you potassium chloride and water. So these are salt and water. Basic compound plus acid, salt and water. This is a neutralization reaction. Same for calcium plus oxygen. Calcium reacts with oxygen to form calcium oxide. And this calcium oxide, if we take this calcium oxide and react with water, it will form calcium hydroxide. Dear students, calcium hydroxide is also known as lime water or slaked lime, or we can say calcium hydroxide. You know, calcium oxide is also known as quick lime, which we call as chuna. Chuna is actually known as lime or quick lime, which when dissolved in water, it forms lime water. And this quick lime react with HCl to form calcium chloride and water. So dear students, you can see there is a similarity. And if you take magnesium, and if you just burn magnesium, it will form magnesium oxide, and you will get the same thing. But in case of magnesium, it does not react with simple water. These three reacts with simple water. H2O is in liquid state. If you take magnesium, it will require steam. Steam is actually water, but it is in gaseous state. So you can say sodium, potassium, calcium react with normal water. If you take magnesium, aluminum, they will not react with normal water. You will require a steam. If you just burn, or if you just react steam and aluminum or steam and magnesium, and if you heat the container, then the reaction will take place and you will get oxides. You will not get hydroxide, but you will get oxide, magnesium oxide and aluminum oxide. So as we go down the series, in the reactivity series, if you remember the series potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, so going down the series reactivity decrease होती है. क्या होती है? Decrease. The more reactive metals are potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and moderately reactive कौन है? Aluminum, zinc, iron. These are moderately reactive. And सबसे कम reactive कौन है? तो gold, platinum, silver. These are least reactive. Now, dear students, if you know rusting of iron means जंग लगता है ना आयन पे, वो उसको हम रस्ट कहते हैं. एंड वो कैसे होता है? इट्स बिकॉज आयन व्हेन रिएक्ट्स विथ मॉइस्ट एयर, ऑक्सीजन प्लस वाटर, मॉइस्ट एयर, जब आयन मॉइस्ट एयर के साथ रिएक्ट करता है तब वो बन जाता है रस्ट. दैट इज Fe2O3.XH2O. व्हाट इज XH2O? कुछ फ्यू मॉलिक्यूल्स उसके साथ ज्वाइंट हो जाते हैं आयन ऑक्साइड के साथ. दिस इज आयन. And when iron reacts with moist air, that is oxygen plus some water molecules, it forms rust, that is ferric oxide dot XH2O. So it is hydrated ferric oxide. Hydrated मतलब पानी वाले molecules. So it is rust. Now dear students, rust is basic or acidic. ये चेक करना हो तो we can use litmus paper. तो रस्ट का जैसे कहीं पे रस्ट लगा है ना आयन पे, उसको हम लेंगे और पानी में डालेंगे. एंड दैट रस्ट सोल्यूशन, एंड इफ यू डिप लिटमस पेपर, दैट इज टेक रेड लिटमस पेपर, एंड यू विल सी दैट रेड लिटमस पेपर टर्न्स ब्लू. व्हाई? बिकॉज रस्ट इज बेसिक इन नेचर. इसको वापस हम प्रूव करेंगे. Fe2O3.XH2O प्लस HCl, रस्ट लो एंड उसमें हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड डालो, you will get salt and water. So acid plus base will give you salt and water. So here we are taking acid and here we are taking rust and we are getting salt and water, that is ferric chloride and water. So this rust is behaving as a basic compound, basic nature, and we are adding acid and we are getting salt and water. So rust is actually a basic compound. And how it is formed? When moist air reacts with iron, it forms Fe2O3.XH2O, that is rust. And all metal oxides are basic in nature. So not all, we can say generally, because if you study aluminum oxides and zinc oxide, they are amphoteric, which we going to talk in 9th standard or 10th standard. Amphoteric का मतलब क्या होता है कि they are basic also and they are acidic also. So those substances which are behaving as acid and as well as like base, they are known as amphoteric substance. So aluminum oxide, zinc oxide, they are metal oxide, but they are amphoteric. But usually or generally metal oxides are basic. Like these all metal oxides, sodium oxide, potassium oxide, calcium oxide, they are basic in nature. And non-metal oxides are generally acidic in nature, or they are neutral also, which we're going to talk later. Right now we're discussing about metals. So like for example aluminum. Aluminum reacts with oxygen, it forms Al2O3. Al2O3 is actually basic compound also, it is acidic compound also, because it reacts with acid and it reacts with base also. So it is a amphoteric. So Al2O3, that is aluminum oxide plus HCl, it forms salt and water, that is aluminum chloride and water. So when it reacts with acid, it is called a basic compound, but it also reacts with base and it is an amphoteric compound. Like copper reacts with oxygen, it forms copper oxide, and copper oxide reacts with H2SO4, it forms copper sulfate and water. So again you can see sulfuric acid is a acid and copper oxide is behaving as a basic compound. Copper oxide is a black color compound, and when it reacts with sulfuric acid, it forms blue color solution of copper sulfate solution. So what we have learned? We have learned that metal are reactive. They react with oxygen, they react with water, and some are vigorously reactive. There are some are, we can say, more reactive. For example, potassium and sodium. Dear students, do you know potassium and sodium are kept under kerosene? Do you know why? Because if we keep in like open air, they will react with moisture, and they will the reaction is explosive. You will see some spark in water, and if you just even touch the sodium and potassium, you will feel hot because they are react with the sweat also. That's why this potassium and sodium are kept under kerosene. So some metals are more reactive, some are moderately reactive, and some are least reactive. So what is the conclusion? Most of metals react with oxygen to form metal oxides, and metal oxides are basic compound. Some metal reacts rapidly with oxygen and some metal reacts slowly with oxygen. So what we have seen, कुछ फास्ट रिएक्ट करते हैं ऑक्सीजन के साथ और कुछ स्लो रिएक्ट करते हैं. फास्ट रिएक्ट करने वाले कौन से हैं? सोडियम, पोटेशियम, कैल्शियम, है ना. और मॉडरेटली रिएक्टिव करने वाले कौन से हैं? तो कॉपर है, या फिर ले लो आप सिल्वर है. दिस रिएक्ट विथ ऑक्सीजन ऑल्सो बट स्लोली. लेड, दे रिएक्ट स्लोली विथ ऑक्सीजन. एंड जो रिएक्ट करते ही नहीं है ऑक्सीजन के साथ, वो कौन है? गोल्ड एंड प्लैटिनियम. Oxides of sodium, calcium and magnesium turns red litmus paper blue. So metal oxides are basic compound. They turns red litmus to blue, which is a basic characteristic. When dissolved in water, this means they are basic compound. So dear students, this was about the chemical reactivity of metals. Our next topic will be chemical reactivity of non-metals and some like corrosion topic like copper. Even copper get corroded. Corroded means rusting like. जैसे आयरन रस्ट होता है वैसे कॉपर भी रस्ट हो जाए, और कॉपर का रस्ट ग्रीन कलर का होता है, which we going to talk in the next session. That's it.